Hey everybody, there's actually three things I want to talk about that are going to be covered in this video. First off, I'm looking very Dangerous Minds tonight, I think. Anytime I put on a hood sweater, I say that I look like an extra from Dangerous Minds, when really I probably would have been more like one of the bad students from Sister Act 2. Anyway, but black, all black, very, I'm Portuguese black, it works. Anyway, so what I want to talk about is a few things. So two short things, one long thing. First thing, I don't know, as you all know, I'm obsessed with the Food Network. I will watch anything they tell me to watch except diners, drive-ins, and dives. Pretty much anything with Guy Fieri or one of those like macho bullshit Bobby Flay types, I'm not really interested in. Um, but I do enjoy this new show called Restaurant Stakeout, which is a little bit like Restaurant Impossible, except nothing actually gets fixed. Basically, they found this guy who looks like his entire life is one big audition for the role of Tony Soprano in the musical version of The Sopranos. I guess he owns like two restaurants in Jersey or something, and part of his success is that he has surveillance cameras in all his restaurants and he's always watching what's going on. He's clearly not running a restaurant because he's dressed, again, like a good fella, and can't really form sentences correctly and doesn't seem to know anything about food, but he knows how to put up cameras. So I don't know if Restaurant Impossible was becoming too expensive for Food Network to do, or it was successful and they were like, well, we need something like this but cheaper. So he videotapes a restaurant for like I guess a week or a couple days, and then about 50 minutes of this hour-long show is just him sitting with an owner going, look at that, look at that, look at all this stuff going wrong. And so the whole episode you're going, okay, yeah, they're all doing crap wrong. And now these aren't like Restaurant Impossible restaurants or Kitchen Nightmare restaurants. These are like pubs. These are like taverns. I mean, as far as I can see, like these are not, you know, anything that really they're like a step above an Applebee's or below actually an Applebee's. Um, and so like you wait the whole show for him to like go in and fix these restaurants, and then at the last 10 minutes he like walks into the restaurant. He's like, I've been taping all of you. Now he caught like bartenders dancing on the bar like Coyote Ugly style, which I kind of find amazing, but apparently it's not. You shouldn't do that at the bar. Um, Wisdom that we learned from the Food Network: do not dance on the bar if you're the bartender. Um, uh, don't dance on the bar. Sorry, I adjusted my eyebrows, and now I'm like, I always have the fear of Burton Ernie eyebrows. Anyway, so don't dance on the bar. Bartenders were doing drinks. Waitresses were being really rude, and rather than just fire everybody and get new people, they decide to just sort of like slap everybody on the wrist, and they're like, don't do that, don't drink it, and the whole episode he plays a tough guy. I would do this, and I run restaurants, and I'm a big tough guy. So he walks into the restaurant, and he's like, you make more tips if you're not rude to customers. Really? Shocker. Who knew? And he doesn't fire anybody. And so for 5 minutes, he just kind of says, don't do this, don't do that. They're selling like bootleg videos at this restaurant, by the way. Like someone's bringing in bootleg videos and selling them. So he's like, don't do this, don't do that. And then he comes back 6 weeks later, just like Tabitha in Tabitha Salon Takeover. And he's like, oh, look, everything's fine. They're not doing any of the bad stuff anymore. I mean, I hope they're not, because we only have 3 minutes left of the show, so they don't redo anything, they don't make the place look nicer. And yet it's amazing because it's so pointless. It's just pointless. It looks like it should be on like a lesser channel, like the cooking channel. Ooh, digs the cooking channel. Can't watch it. They cook too much. Okay, so that's number one thing done. Two of three. So, two. I don't know if any of you watched. I'm a little late to the party on this one, but Star Jones on The View. So Star Jones went back to The View, which is a big deal because she got, she sort of left on a bad note. Although, to me, it seems like everybody leaves The View on a bad note. I think Meredith Vieira was the only one who didn't leave on a bad note. And I kind of am starting to get the impression, like, if you're going to leave The View, like, go out with guns blazing. Yeah, I mean, be a Rosie O'Donnell. Just go out with a bang. Because I've slowly developed this kind of hatred of Barbara Walters over the years. I don't know when it started. I always kind of liked her when she was just on 2020 and just doing interviews and all that stuff, but like over time, I've just developed this real distaste for her, and a lot of it's view oriented because she's always just sat there with this sort of like I can have any of your jobs whenever I want, and like not hiding that at all, like totally upfront about that, not even a pretense of like, oh well, if America likes any of you, no, I'll just, if you bother me, I'll just get rid of you. So for those of you who don't know and haven't read her book Audition by Barbara Walters, which I did, um, Star Jones, they fired Star Jones, and then they were like, and they fired her because, at the time she lied about the gastric bypass, and she was sort of endorsing things, anybody who would give her stuff for her big gay wedding with her big gay husband, ex-husband, and so her approval ratings went way down. And instead of saying, she had been with them like 9 years or 6 years, whatever, instead of saying to her, like, stop doing the endorsement deals, come clean about the liposuction or whatever, the gastric bypass, they were like, no, we're going to fire you, and so you're going to leave the same year that Meredith is leaving, and, here's when we're going to announce that you're moving on to bigger things, and we'll throw you a nice little party, and it'll be great. And Star Jones says, screw that. No. I'm going to announce when I'm going to leave, and then I'm just going to go. And that's what she did. So then she goes back on The View after, like, a long, long time. Now, obviously, Joy does not like her. Elizabeth does. Clearly, Barbara's upset. Barbara, it's in the book that she was upset. She talked about it. So Star Jones going on The View, and I'm thinking that they're just gonna not even talk about the fact that it's a little awkward that Star Jones is gonna be, because it would be awkward. It would be really awkward. But Barbara Walters, man, no, she is fine with awkward. She eats awkward for breakfast. Now, I love when they have everybody on the panel on, and Barbara has a bone to pick with somebody. Because when Barbara has a bone to pick with you, nobody else gets to talk until Barbara is done talking. So I don't think in this interview, I think Whoopi said like 2 words for the first, good part of the interview that actually dealt with the controversy. Sherry Shepherd didn't say anything during the whole controversy. It was basically Joy and Barbara just beating up on Star Jones, and Elizabeth, who was friends with Star Jones, kind of, you could see, was like wanted to say something but couldn't really say anything, because Barbara would have fired her, because that's what Barbara does. I don't really like Star Jones, never really did like Star Jones, but I have to say, if I have never felt greater sympathy for somebody I don't like than watching this interview, because Barbara Walters looks like a big, fat, old, ugly bully. She is, because she goes, she's like, well, we need to talk about this, because people always ask me about what happened with Star. First of all, I don't think anybody ever asks her, 6 years later, what happened with Star Jones. I don't really think anyone cares anymore. Second, if anyone did care, they could read your book, Barbara, even though it was about 100 pages too long because you're not that interesting. They could read your book. They could look at the interview you did on Oprah. Like, you've talked about it. It's not like it hasn't been talked about, and Star's talked about it, and everybody has the same story. So it's not like there's really any question about what happened. But she's like insistent, and Star Jones actually says to her credit, Star Jones is like, oh, we're gonna rehash this, like, let's not go into this, and Barbara's like, no, we're gonna go into it. So here's Star Jones being like the sensible one, being like, let's not make this awkward for everyone, Barbara, like, let's leave it alone. And Barbara Walters, who got so pissed off when Rosie and Elizabeth had their big confrontation, is basically now being confrontational with Star Jones. You know what else I don't like about Barbara Walters? I don't like women who think they need to act like men to advance in any sort of career. And that's always the position that Barbara Walters has taken. Barbara Walters has been like, I've slept with people, with my advanced superiors, I've slept with senators, like, I've been a slut, basically. I was an old slut. I've been a slut, and I've been ruthless, and I've been mean, but I had to do that because that's what men do, so that's how you have to be successful. Well, no, you can be a woman and be classy and advance. I mean, you don't have to be a heinous bitch to advance. I mean, I guess maybe to a certain degree you do, Barbara Walters, but apparently it takes its toll and you end up looking like the Crypt Keeper. Anyway, So Star Jones is like actually I think winning this interview because she's being very sensible and she's being very fun and she's tossing things off. And Joy, and I like Joy, but Joy was like Joy was like kind of giving it to her too and being like, well, we could never talk about your gastric bypass. And Star was like, well, we didn't talk about other personal things that were going on with either any of you, so I just asked that we not talk about something personal that was going on with me, which I think was totally fair. And they're like, well, you lied and you said it was Pilates and you said it was yoga and blah, blah, blah. And again, but like, it's nobody's business, okay? So I said it was Pilates or I said it was, like, it's nobody's business, right? Yeah. They just keep getting into it with her. And I love that Barbara is like, we were going to do you such a favor because we loved you so much. We loved you so much that we were going to fire you just because your approval ratings weren't high. And then we were going to lie to the American public, as they're like, it's bad that you lied about the Pilates. We were going to lie to the American public to protect you. Protect you, because usually when someone fires you, that's what they do. They're protecting you. So you could say that you got a new project or you got a new offer or something. Which makes me think that now Kathy Lee probably got fired and didn't, but that just hit me. Anyway, so we were going to protect you, and then you went and you did this, and bad girl. Like, that's what I got from it. That, oh, Star, you bad girl. You should not have done that. Bad, bad, bad. Awful. I can't even, like, ugh, Barbara Walters. Anyway, I don't know why she's done them all chained to the desk. So that's the first two little things. Okay, now we come to the big thing. Oprah's next chapter with the Houston family. Okay. I love Oprah's next chapter because it's just the Oprah show. It's just the Oprah show. All of you who missed the Oprah show, it's everything you loved about the Oprah show. It's the in-depth, crazy interviews with people. That's all it is. Like, all the big interviews that only Oprah can get and, like, the access that only Oprah can get is Oprah's next chapter. So you don't have to sit through any of the bullshit, like self-help nonsense or like fashion makeovers or any of that stuff. It's just the good stuff. Like, thank you, Oprah. Thank you. Just the good stuff. Okay. So she does this, like, so what, and I remember that, like a few days after Whitney Houston died, I was like, oh, it's too bad Oprah's not still on the air because, she'd have the interview with the family. Nope. Got it anyway. Next chapter, interview with the family. Okay. So the family is, so Oprah shows up at the sister-in-law's house, Whitney's brother's wife, who was also Whitney's manager, I guess, for like a long time. She shows up at the house, and she, says hi to the sister, and right away you can tell that like Oprah, again, kind of came up the same way Barbara Walters did. Oprah has a very distinct impression of how she wants this to go. She wants a lot of crying. She wants a lot of like child left behind stuff. Like, she wants high drama. Okay, so she gets there, and if you remember the interview that I stayed up until 5 o'clock in the morning watching, the Whitney Oprah interview a few years ago, it was kind of the same thing. She wanted Whitney to cry and apologize, and Whitney just wasn't doing it. Whitney just didn't give a shit. She just wasn't going to cry. She wasn't going to apologize. She's like, yeah, I killed my voice, whatever, my voice. And Oprah cried more than Whitney did. Okay, so now here's Oprah, maybe seeking redemption, or revenge, going back to interview the Houston family. And I like how Oprah was at the Houston funeral, and they were like, she's a family friend, when, like, you never heard, like, her and Whitney hanging out, like, I don't anyway. So she goes in, and the sister kind of looks fine. Like, the sister-in-law kind of looks fine. Like, she's she's maybe still in shock. And so she's like, oh, and so Oprah says, oh, is Bobby Christina staying here? And the sister-in-law looks at her and goes, well, she's 19, so her mother had 3 houses, so she kind of stays wherever. So right away, it's like, this is not going the way that Oprah wants this to go, because there's nothing sad about a 19-year-old being left behind. I mean, it's sad when anyone's, parent or anything, but, it's better if she's like 12. So Bobby Christina comes out, and Oprah gets like 5 seconds with Bobby Christina, and she hugs her, and she holds her for like a really long time. Let me get my pillow. So this is Bobby Christina, this is the pillow, and Oprah's like, oh, it's okay, it's Auntie Oprah. and you can tell Bobby Christina's a little like, yeah, it's all right, I'm okay. Or this is Oprah. I'm okay, Oprah. Um, so and then right away Oprah's like going for those like we gotta get some tears in this next chapter. Oh, we gotta get those ratings. Rosie's gone. So so she she's like, what were your last moments like with your mom? I mean, something you want to ask someone whose mother just died a month ago. You want to be like, what were your last moments like with your mother, right? I mean, it's not too soon. Is it too soon? It's not too soon. But so and Bobby Christina like handled it really well. She's like, I still feel she's with me, you know, Oprah, so I'm okay. And Oprah, no, someone's got to cry. Um, so she sits down with the sister-in-law. Now the sister-in-law has been given the sort of bulk of this episode, which is weird because like we'll get to that. But she's been given the bulk of the episode, and I don't want to say this is my favorite part, but what I was most stunned by was that Oprah wanted her to go through finding Whitney, like the the hour that she found Whitney, the day she found Whitney. And she, like Barbara Walters, was like, well, people want to know, and people are asking, and there's controversy. People always say there's controversy when there's not. There's no controversy. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about why Star Jones got fired. Nobody cares about how Whitney was found. I love Whitney, and I don't care. I don't want to know. But that's what people use when they want to be invasive and ask ridiculous questions. So it's like, there's controversy. Could you walk us through that day? Because there's just controversy. We want to clear up the controversy. So she walks the sister-in-law, who this only happened a month ago, walks the sister-in-law through finding, or like finding the body, or the person who found the body, like then the sister-in-law found it, like minute by minute is like walking her through this, and then only stopping when Oprah gets teary-eyed and it's like, oh, I can't do that. I don't know if I can keep doing this interview. Okay, so you found her, like minute by minute by minute, and the sister-in-law is like taking a little breaks, but she's doing it, like she's pushing through and talking about it. Then the brother joins them, Gary. Oh, and Oprah also for an interviewer, it like can't, it's I don't know if she's doing this on purpose, but she can't follow a thought at all. The sister-in-law's like, oh well, and then this person. Well, who was that? Well, wait, did we talk about them? Okay, so this is the person. Okay, I'm just wanting to clear this up because there's a lot of controversy. Okay, so this person found. Okay, great. So wait, so were you there? No, you weren't there. So you were downstairs. Okay, if I can keep it straight, Oprah, like you need to keep it straight. How are you not keeping it straight? Okay, so then the brother joins them, Gary, and then she starts in on the Bobby Brown shit. And she's like, is Bobby Brown the man you would have chosen for your sister? And he's like, I love Bobby. Like, I thought Bobby was a great guy. And Oprah's like, oh, just say that. Um, and they're like, no, Bobby was welcome at the funeral. It's fine. And Oprah's like, So then, she asks something I actually did want her to ask, but she's like, how's your mother holding up? And he goes, well, it's tough for my mother. And then before you can even finish the thought, Oprah goes, well, I spoke to your mother this morning. Spoke to her this morning. And I'm going, you have balls, Oprah Winfrey. You have balls asking someone how their mother is doing. And then following up with, oh, I spoke to her this morning. I spoke to her this morning, actually. Because I couldn't just leave her alone. She didn't want to do the interview. But she even said, she's like, well, I told her the world had to know how she's doing. The world had to know. Yeah, I mean, every day, prime ministers get up and go, how is Sissy Houston doing? How is she doing? Is she okay? Can we check? Every day Obama wakes up and he goes, make sure you get me the progress report on Sissy. And, like, I'm amazed. Balls. But that's what makes Oprah Oprah. Only Oprah could call Sissy Houston and be like, I know you don't want to talk about any of this because it's horrifying and you lost your daughter and that's terrible, but I'm still going to ask you about it, and then like throw it in the face of your son that, oh well, I still got your mom to talk. The episode ends with Gary Houston, and it's so staged, and I don't mean like they staged the Houston family. I mean clearly this was put together by Oprah to have this sort of poignant television moment, because listen to how ridiculous this is. It's Gary Houston, his niece playing piano, and his sister-in-law and his wife, his sister-in-law, the wife, standing there, and Gary Houston is singing, I Look to You, okay, and loses it, like loses his shit, of course, like he's singing this song, and his daughter's playing in this, and his sister is gone, and what does the camera go to immediately? He breaks down and cries, and the camera goes to Oprah going like this, like, was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. It was like her being at the funeral. Like, it was like, why are you here? This is so, you have no place here at all. And then she goes, that's a wrap, everyone. It's a wrap with the Houston family. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. And she looks at sister-in-law. She goes, I don't know how you did that. I don't know how you did that. I'm going, I don't know how you did it either. I don't know how you basically drag this woman through the worst day of her life, which only happened a month ago, over again, minute by minute, in slow-mo. I don't know how you did that. That's, wow. Crazy. Crazy. Oh my god. It was crazy. Who does that? Oprah. Oprah does that. And Barbara Walters. I'm sure Barbara probably would have sat down at the piano with them. Hey, you want to sing I Want to Dance with somebody? Crazy. But well, if you can look it up, it must be online. It's insane. It's insane. The minute by minute, like, replay of her finding Whitney. It's like, she, like, won't stop. She's like, okay, so you're walking down the hallway. You took 2 steps. Okay, stop. Okay, you took 2 steps. Okay, keep going. Okay, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? Oh, and Bobby Christina's down the hall, right? You're gonna have to tell her. Ooh, this bad. Crazy. Crazy. And yet, very blog-worthy, I must say. Very video blog-worthy. You know, I couldn't write all that down. You all had to hear it from me. That's about it.